We're live. Hang on a second. Let me reset the mic. Okay, here we go. Hey, Shaggy SoCal 12 for Forza. And week one of TNT in this C8.R was quite interesting. Laguna was actually a good race weather-wise. The fog was interesting. Did not like. I mean, I think I said it on during the race. Like Mid Ohio is difficult enough in the dry, but then to have the random weather pop up with pretty much torrential downpour, just that. Glad that race is done with. But heading into next week, it's two other two other circuits. I never prep these intros, but next week or this coming Thursday, we're going to be racing at Silverstone GP, which we're at now, and then in Hockenheim GP, which is the brand new track to this version of Forza Motorsport. So again, very different tracks. I think different from week one. Week one, we had a lot of elevation changes, a lot of off-camber turns, and weight transfers and unselling the car. These tracks tend to be a little bit more, are a lot flatter. Though Silverstone does have a little bit of elevation change. It's certainly nothing nowhere near what we have at, let's say, like Mid Ohio. So these tracks are a little more point and shoot. And when I was tweaking the setups on that, at least what Forza Tune Pro was kind of suggesting changing to and noting changing over from Mid Ohio to this, just some of the changes like, yeah, it sees this more as a point and shoot track, not as much weight transfer suspension works. Anyhow, talking too much. So I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to run a couple of laps here in Rivals at Silverstone here, and I'll do a slow track walk. Just some of the things I'm noticing with the car, and again adjusting as far as my static references that I built up from Forza 7 don't always apply to the new game. So I'm trying to learn those as well. Again, those are helpful if you have the braking light on. Great, not a problem with that. It's just there are times when you're in traffic, you're not going to see the braking line, so you need hopefully have something else to look at. So with that, let me just go ahead and I'm going to start race. And let's just run a couple laps of Silverstone in Rivals. Through the farm. Whoop, don't miss a shift. So again, track limits are very generous now, so you can use a lot more curb than you maybe were used to using in Forza 7, but Silverstone in particular, there are dangers offline. And we'll talk about those, and who knows, I may even hit one or two of them. Straight, so I think this is Brooklyn's. On the softs, but they are not quite up to temp yet. Diff settings are a little bit more aggressive on the locking on acceleration than I ran at Mid Ohio. Which lends into that point and shoot nature of this track and of Hockenheim. So I gotta be careful wheel spin out of some of the slower corners. All right, Maggots and Beckett's. Whoa, curve. Chapel. Hanger straight up towards Stowe. Yes, I got it right. Yeah, I've got a trap map down here to my left just to help keep me oriented. All right, and then we'll hit down the last couple of turns here. So what I'll just generally say is there's two types of curving we're going to encounter here. You got the red sausage curving like on the inside of the corners there. Those aren't too bad. They will push the car sideways depending on how you hit them. But then we have, as we experienced in the Hondas, we have what I'm just calling the red squares of death. That tend to be in the faster corners and will just completely tear your suspension apart if you hit them. And we'll go through where you're most likely to hit them and where you might not be most likely to hit them, as I miss more shifts because I can't drive and talk at the same time. All right. I tend to do my braking a little more in a straight line and then turn in versus a trail brake in. Yeah, my gearing, I did tweak the gearing from the default, so I'm using all 6 gears, and second's a little too short for that corner. Yeah, now they're finally able to reach it. All right, let's see if I can go through Beckett's cleaning here again. A little bit late on the turn. That's about as close as you want to get to the inside of that corn, that left there. 4th gear. When I was first doing laps, I was actually doing the exit of Beckett's in 3rd into Chapel, but then I tried, like, well, let's see what 4th does. And 4th's not bad either for the gears I'm running. And there's the other danger. All right, so it's just a couple example laps here of Silverstone. Let's start doing the track walk here, but we'll just set a decent time here at the end. All right, so farm here, turn 1. It is a little bit, I'm in 5th gear. I don't think you need to downshift, but you do need to do a little bit of braking just to help get the car turned in. And it's usually about the things I'm looking for with the braking line, trying to line things up. It is about where the 2 board is. It is about where you can see the green there on the painted pavement there on the left side. Excuse me. So that's kind of, I'm trying to spot that. Yeah, I'm not, at speed I can't read 2. I just see the board. I don't know what number's on it at speed. But if I can see those 2 things, or at least get a reference to that, that way if I'm behind somebody, close behind somebody, then, I know I'm getting close. It helps gauge braking, like, okay, I maybe need to back off a little bit so I can see into the corner. It's also, you could say, you've got the board saying there's a right turn ahead. If you're seeing that, if you're passing that, then you just know that's like, okay, I got to get ready to brake. So a couple things to look for there. So now we start talking about so for me, this will be 5th gear. Let's just talk about the setup I'm running. I did do just whatever the base tune that came out of Forza Tune Pro on my iPhone. So it's a little bit, ride height's a little bit lower, suspension's a little stiffer, and a little more aggressive on the diff settings compared to, say, what I was running at Middle High on Laguna. Same thing with the gearing. I did do a gearing change, so I'm using all 6 gears. Whereas if you use the base, if you use the default gearing, it's like you might just use 1 through 5. So again, pick your poison. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. Just use what works best for you. So for me, with this 6 gear kind of setup I'm running, I'll be in 5th gear here. Probably just, again, it's just a quick brake and turn in, get the car turned in. And here's danger 1. So we talked about curbing. We have these nice, I call them, I've seen them referred to as turtle curbing. I just call them the red squares of death. So yeah, you can run over there, you can run on the curbs, but I would just say be very, very careful. If you get to a point where you're starting to center the car over those red curbings, and depending on your ride height, it is going to just catch the front of the car. It's going to ruin your in this case, it'll ruin the right side brake and suspension, cause bodywork damage as well, and depending on how you hit it, almost can sometimes bring the car to a stop. So I'll probably be off, because I'm usually takes a little bit again with the tires. It'll take a little bit to come up to temperature, but you know, if you're going to use curbing, just try and stay on the rumble curbing here on the inside and avoid, you know, don't play with fire here. For me, 9 times out of 10, I'm missing this apex anyway. So the risk of me hitting the red squares of death in turn one here is low, but it's much higher here in turn two as we're coming up through. I think this is farm, so I can already see them. If you can see them, be careful because sometimes you have a tendency to drive, towards what you're looking at. So try and look just a little bit to the right of them. But at least if you can see them, then you kind of know where the apex is. They are spaced, so you can kind of see where the apex is, but these are these ones are going to hit them a lot faster coming out of turn one. So these are more dangerous. I think I'm more likely for me. I'm more likely to hit these than turn one. So again, just try and stay off the curbing, or if you're going to just use a little teensy beensy little bit of it. So I'm usually probably fifth gear, sixth gear up here, bring the car back across. Braking is, I think, is about the two board. I haven't really been paying attention to the boards there. But for me, this is a third gear. For me, this is a third gear corner. I will set up quite wide. And you look at the track map, it is a little more than 90 degrees, but it doesn't feel like it's a 90, it's that sharp of a turn. I don't know why. It just, maybe because, once you kind of get to the apex, you've got plenty of room on the exit to, get back in the throttle. Bring the car out to the left side, bring it back across. This is where I will differ from the braking line a little bit. I tend to like to set up a little bit wider and I think this is arena. So they call this complex arena. I tend to set up a little bit wider more often than not than what the braking line suggests. I do this in second gear. I might, on my own, I might make second just a smidgen taller, just so it's not so high up in the rev range, but I want to take it in late apex. And the red sausage curbs, not as dangerous. The worst they're going to do, depending on how fast you're going, if you kiss them, it's just going to unsettle the car and shove it to you hit it on the left side, it's going to shove you right. Not as bad here. It's entering maggots and beckets where that curbing can be a little bit of a problem. But I'm going to use the curbing there a little bit, bring the car out to the right side. Probably really not going to get fully onto the throttle until I've got the car straight, especially if I'm in second gear and if it's high up. I want to minimize wheel spin out of this corner. Might be a short shift to third, starting to work up through the gears. I am trying to spot, again, here's our next set of red squares of death. I'm going to try and spot them because at least it tells me where that corner is. Let's come through here. I'm just going to clip, if I'm going to clip the curbing, it's going to be barely. Getting onto here while I get straight. So work up through the gears, fourth, fifth. I can't remember if I get sixth or not. But heading in here to, what is this? Brooklands. So heading into Brooklands, I do brake. The braking line, it's a trail brake in. I'm not a good trail braker, so I tend to do a lot of my braking in a straight line, and then as I release, I'll turn in. It does mean that if someone's close behind me, I'm kind of leaving myself open to attack. Probably what will happen is as I get into it, as I run more laps and I get into a bit of a rhythm, I might be able to adjust and angle my braking in a little bit more. But still, for me, the general philosophy is get as much of my brake done as a straight line, and then release and then start to roll back into the throttle through the corner. So that's what I do. But here, whatever gear I'm in, I'm probably going to bring it down and do this in fourth gear. If I overcook it, if I'm overcook it and I feel like the car's starting to push, I'll probably drop it down to third. But I'm going to try and do this in fourth. Red squares of death, at least for me, less likely to hit them. I think just from how much weight transfer there is and the tendency the car is going to push, especially because I'm going to be running hard medium tires. I don't think that these are as risky as some of the other parts of the track. All the way out, going to bring it all the way to the right side. And then for, what is this? This is for Luffield. I'm going to drop it to third. And it is, and I kind of follow the braking line here. It is, it is a hairpin, but really it's kind of a double apexer. So you'll apex early on entry, let the car come out to about mid-track, and then you're going to look for a late apex on exit, third gear. I've tried to do this in second, and at least for my current setup, second's a little too short. Second might come in handy if I'm in traffic and I have to check up. I might drop it to second on the way out, but I think on my own, third gear is probably going to be the best for me getting out of this corner. Yeah, excuse me. So third gear. Let the car come out to the left side. Fourth. And apex there. Out again towards cops. So for me, the braking is right about. And this is where I wish I would pay more attention as I'm doing my demo laps. But the braking is going to line up. I think it either lines up with the two board or the right-hand turn here. It is a quick brake. I've been doing it. If I'm in sixth gear, I will brake and drop it to fifth. Though I'm in reverse. The turn in for cops for me is at the one board. Yeah, so I or right about as you get to the end of the curbing. So it's brake, release, turn in. Here's you got to be careful. You're going to be carrying enough speed. Those turtle curbs or the red squares of death will kill your car. So try to late apex this. Try to stay off the, don't try and use too much of this curbing. Let the car drift out. You can get on the rumble strips here a little bit. It's not that painful. Bring the car back to the right side, setting up wide so you can get a nice straight braking entry for Maggots and Beckets. So I'll turn in. Now this is where I was talking about the red sausage curbings, where generally they're not too bad. This is where, depending how aggressively, now I'm trying to line up so I can brake. I want to bring the car, and I want to have the car here on the left side, so I can brake in a straight line here and open, this next right-hander up into Maggots and Beckets. If I'm a little too aggressive on the turn in, or I get too close and I graze that curbing, it will, it's enough to upset the car. It shoves it to the right a little bit, and then I'm kind of doing a little dance on the pedal and the wheel, just to make sure I can get through the corner. But you can use a lot of the curbing here. So for me, this is I'll be in sixth gear. Usually it's a brake here. I drop it to fifth. I'm going to turn in here, not too aggressively, because you can use the black and white curbing. Stay off these will kill you. I've already hit them several times in practice. So again, use curbing there, down to fifth, accelerate back up, brake again, drop it to fourth, use the inside curbing there, stay off the red squares of death, and coming out of Maggots Beckets and into Chapel, on my initial practice laps, I was actually dropping it to third just as a cadence, brake, drop it to fifth, go through the first part, brake, drop it to fourth, the second part, brake, drop it to third. Third gear if you're in traffic, or if you're trying to set up a run, you maybe just want the car a little get the car the weight on the nose a little more, you can drop it to third. I would say on your own, if you're running laps, at least for me, I can leave it in fourth. So your choice, but I would say the exit out, you can use all of this curve and then some on the way out if you want to. Third, fourth, onto the hanger straight, heading up towards Stowe. You can see it gives you the turn marker here. Usually I kind of use the curbing on the left side to help gauge the sign, and the curbing to kind of help gauge where I'm braking, because I think I can brake a little later than what the braking line suggests. Fifth gear, maybe fourth, depending on how badly I've butchered the entry. Excuse me. But what you really want to watch out for is you do want to watch out for, again, here's the red squares of death. I think I clocked these in a practice session in the Hondas when we were here running the shorter circuit. Stay off the red squares of death. You can use a little bit of curbing, late apex, let the car drift out to the left side. So fourth gear, fifth gear, down to the final corner, braking right about where the curbing starts, maybe a little bit past it. For me, this is third gear for the setup I'm running. And I'm usually always late for that entry. But you can use, the inside curbing. You can get on the red curbing a little bit, bring the car out, still third gear, accelerating up. I tend to turn this one in too early, and you can already see I'm drifting across. If you hit this curbing, you can see I'm scraping a little bit. It's not going to kill the car, but it will upset it on the exit as it's shoving me across. So I'd say try to stay off the red curbing if you can. But if you're going to hit it, try and get the right side over it. I think the worst thing to do is to just kiss it with the side of the tire and have it shove the car out to the left. So, but at least in my own practice, it's not horrible. It doesn't really, it's not going to make the car snappy. The other thing too is, at least for me on my setup, if you're running medium tires, I've already had a couple spins in practice or places where even coming out of this corner with a weight shift, the tires would spin up a little bit. It is possible. So maybe I just hadn't run enough laps to get some temp in them. But we'll see how that works when I do the practice race. But we're out here, bring it out to the left side, and that's a lap of Silverstone in the C8.R. It's actually, again, this car works well here. I do like it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out of Rivals, and we're going to set up. I need to run a practice event because I actually, it's not just about how quickly I can run this on my own. It's how good my questionable racecraft is in traffic. So let's go ahead and exit. Oh, actually, whoops, nope. What was my time? 2:05, so it's about a 2:05. So that was about, what, 12 laps? Yeah, I think as I was running practice laps last night, I think that's about 12 laps for the race. So let's go ahead and exit. I think Hockenheim we can run like 15. But that's a whole other track guide. All right, let's go to free play. Free play, advanced setup. I'm just going to manually do this because I'm not going to try and bucket this anymore. That's the one I want. Okay, we're going to do a circuit race. We say long, but I'm going to change the thing anyway, the lap count anyway. So we're going to go to Silverstone. We're going to do the Grand Prix circuit. We're going to do 12 laps. Starting time of day, we're going to go random. And time progression rolling, weather random. So again, I think what Matt does is starting time of day is random, weather is random. But variable is always this, like, do you like rain in your race? Because if you do variable, chances are you will always have rain. So I think that's what Matt does. So we'll do random, we'll see what happens. I'm going to turn dynamic tracker over on, we'll leave it at 50. Driver guitar difficulty, we'll put it at 8. Driver guitar designs, yes. Number of driver guitars, 23. So for the cars, we're going to do Forza GT. But we're going to go... We're just going to say, you know what? We're going to do the model family and just say, I just want Chevrolet Corvettes. And I'm not done yet. So rules, expert rules, standing start. We're going to go random. End of race timer, none. Compare past lap scores, number of teams. Oh, mandatory pit stops, 1. Interlead teams. Off. Yeah, we don't have any teams anyway, and we're not going to do groups because I'm giving up on that for right now. Because even the GT, it's at least for the pace I'm running and kind of the balance of performance I'm practicing with. AI, even if should be good enough to give me some challenge.
Massive Silverstone is, stretching across 2 English counties, and can hold about 150,000 people on race day.
Wow. Okay, so for the BOP, Stu and I, just to kind of as a balance of performance, we're required to run hard and medium. and then I always mess up on more than half the race. So what we'll do is we'll start in the hard and we'll do the medium at the end. But I never mess with the fuel. I always do 13 laps. If it's a 12 lap race, I'll put just into the 13s. Let's go ahead and hit done. So it'll be 7 laps if I remember the lap count. 7 laps on the hard tires, 5 laps on the mediums, and then we'll see where we play out. So, and it's a random grid order and thin haze. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and start race. It looks like I'm further back in the pack. About midway. So much for random. That's only so much for random if I'm starting 12. 14. Okay. Whoop. Yeah. Forza glue. There we go. Further back. Okay. Let's start moving forward. Back up a little bit so that I can see a little bit better in the corner, but I don't want to get then caught up if the AI just check brakes all of a sudden like that. Okay, so we're back up to 13 after kind of a questionable start. Okay, that's going to be interesting. I might adjust the diff settings a little bit. The parts just do not have, well, again, it's still lap 1, so they're not, I'm not one that, I'm not going to pull up the telemetry and check temperature like that. I just tend to drive it off feel, but it just might mean that it's going to take a lap or two for these tires to get up to temp. But even then, it's still, the grip is going to be a little bit lacking, so I got to be careful. We'll make some headway on the leaders. Yeah, you can get a little bit of wheel spin through the last corner. Do I have to run on these tires? Bit of a run, but I don't think I've got enough to get. Yeah, discretion is the better part of valor. Let's just hang back. See what we can do. Oh, come on. Wheat, your drive tire sucks. As aggressive as I want to, getting the throttle down. That's about as close as I want to get to those squares as possible. Ground I can make up on the AI. It's the first time I think I can get through here without having to check up. That's where cardiac cards is killing me. It's just he's able to get the power down on the corners that I can't. Someone's off. Next lap, I'm going to try that in third, just see if that makes a difference. The car's a little bit less skittish getting the power down. Better. And late. Told you I'd be late for that corner. That ruined that experiment. Thank you, Science McMillan. Cal will be behind me on soft tires. There's not a way to see what tire compound everybody's on the in the leaderboard there, up at the upper left. Okay, we're gonna box this lap, get off those tires, let's get the mediums. Oh, Silverstone pit entry, so nice and easy. Yep. So you can just floor it all the way in, it'll catch you, and then just got to be quick on your options for your pit stop. So we're going to go to medium tires, we're going to skip the fuel. Ah, no engine damage, transmission damage. Let's see what we can do in the mediums here. Stay to the right side. Yeah, just be careful on the exit because it doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room. As soon as you get control back, you got to start to turn the car a little bit. 14th, so we're kind of right where we started. Catch wheels here. Ah! As soon as I turned in, I'm like, oh, no. That's pretty bad. Car's going to want to pull left. And it's not going to want to turn. Yeah, I know, severe vehicle damage. Oh, I don't know. I haven't played around with ride height to know what ride height to set to maybe avoid that. But then the compromise is you know what? I'm going to softs. Yeah, it's that question. I don't know all the ins and outs of how Forza handles aero and how ride height affects that. You know, how high do you have to bring the car up to avoid dying on the curbs? But then are you sacrificing so much, you know, downforce that the bottom of the car would generate with the diffuser? All right, let's try not to die this time. All right, I deserve that. Got a little too aggressive. Try to go side by side, and you know the AI is very assertive. You know, I'm going to pin that one on me because I know better. But and I always say you're going to see questionable racecraft, and I'm not talking about the driving cars. Through there. Right, let's try this in third, but I'm on soft tires as I slide the car around. Maybe third is better through there. See how just grazing the inside of that red curbing just pushes the car to the sideways a little bit. Using the generous amount of exit curbing just to be able to get the power down. Visibility space, and stay off the outside curb there. Just
last lap, let's go.
dropped it down to third there just because I was making the pass. I want to make sure I get the car woed down and not push wide. Try and stay off that outside curb. It's soft. I can still get the back end and step out. 26 minutes. Yeah, 11, 12 laps is probably what we'll end up doing on Thursday. That's Silverstone. Again, depending on how you want to set your car up, or if you want to use, I think Matt's. I haven't tried Matt's tune yet. Excuse me. But yeah, just again, it is a flatter track, and depending on the suspension, how you like it set, the back end through some of those slower corners, you can get the rear tires to spin up and get the back end to kick out. But that's Silverstone in the vet. Again, I just kind of wish I wish those red turtle bumps were not as severe as they seem to be. I don't know if they're that severe in real life. But it's will make for an interesting race on Thursday. So with that, I want to take a quick break, and then I'll come back and I'll probably do a track guide here for Hockenheim. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday and happy racing.